do you guys know what is my all-time favorite car? It's actually the GR Yaris. And I know this is a forbidden fruit because we don't get it in North America, but it is one amazing, fantastic car. And I hope that one day we will get it. I know at least we get a GR Corolla, which is not a bad compromise at all, but obviously this is the original Gazoo racing sports concept that I love so much. And for the first time, it's going through a major facelift for 2024, and I want to show you some of those things. Well, the biggest news is actually the addition of available automatic transmission, but they also made a lot of changes based on feedback from other race car drivers and other driving events. So for example, in the front, even though sheet metals haven't changed, they made some major modification, including even this right here, the actual mesh underneath the bumper is now made of metal instead of plastic injection molding. So the openings are larger, more air flows in, and the radiator behind has also been increased. The reason why we got interrupted, by the way, is because Akio Toyoda, who is the chairman of Toyota and former president, is actually doing a walking around of the show, and you can see him right there. He's being shown around by a number of other people, so we had to stop filming, which is obviously a very important thing. So we're gonna give it a few minutes, come back to the GR Yaris. Okay, I'm back. As you know, we got interrupted because a very important person just went by, which is Akio Toyoda, the chairman, and he's still walking around back there, so it's going to be a lot of people behind me. But let me just continue on with the GR Yaris changes. So this has changed, the radiator has increased in size, but because this is an automatic transmission model, which is all new for 2024, they also added transmission cooler right behind here, and they added a second radiator here as well, which is all designed to increase the airflow and to increase the cooling of this GR Yaris. But that's the feedback they received from other people who's owned and driven this vehicle. They want maximum cooling. Now let's get into the very important part of the GR Yaris, which is the powertrain and engine, and that has been modified for 2024 as well. It has increased by 34 horsepower by making a number of changes. So the engine power is up, but they also modify a bunch of other things. For example, the airflow here has been modified underneath to maximize the flow of air from here onto the system right here. And everything is designed to make the engine cooler, but also to maximize performance and maximize the boost. So what they actually have done is to increase the boost for the turbocharger, and that's how they increase the horsepower. And even things like suspension has been modified, and before it was secured by 1 point, but now it's secured in 3 points, and so it has more stabilization, it has less likely to flex and so forth. So the powertrain, the suspension have all been modified for this 2024 facelift model. So we are now in the back of the GR Yaris, and there are more changes, perhaps more changes than in the front actually. And many of them are designed for functional changes. So for example, underneath here, the actual mesh here used to be plastic injection, but it's now a steel panel because the actual opening of the mesh is bigger than before, allowing for better airflow. And also because this mesh is very close to the exhaust system, giving more airflow just makes it better in terms of cooling efficiency. So that's also a change. But there's a bigger change right here because the old GR Yaris, only this part lights up, or this part was the actual tail lamp. So both sides here, which is exactly the same as a normal Yaris, but this GR Yaris for 2024 has a light that goes all the way through. So this is a new change here and here. It looks much wider. I think it's a more beautiful design, and that's an important change. Also, you'll notice these two lights over here. These are the rear fog lamps that used to be located lower in the bumper, but oftentimes it gets damaged from gravels and rocks. So they moved it so that the rear fog lamp is here and here. Another change is the brake lamps or brake lights used to be over here, which is often the case, but they found out a lot of people want to modify the rear spoiler here and add a different one, Makes it more difficult if there's a lamp. So the lamp has actually moved over here. You can't see it right now, but it's right along here as well. So that lamp has also moved. And finally, the interesting thing is that the Toyota emblem has been removed just to give it a clean look. So you will not find the typical Toyota emblem in the back of this new GR Yaris. So there's lots of changes in the back, mostly functional, but also aesthetic speaking, it just looks beautiful. And once again, I think this is one of the most interesting cars to talk about. Just a little bit more to tell you about GR Yaris. Now, the most important change is not just the powertrain, but we have a big change inside the car. The entire instrumentation and the dashboard has been redesigned for this facelift model. You can see a huge change, whereas before it was looking more like a normal Yaris, but this one is completely different. We have a new connected system here, a fully digital instrumentation designed to give you maximum information. Everything is different, and even some of these switches and buttons are closer to you because sometimes they couldn't find it during a race. So the hazard light, the push start and stop is closer to you. Even the intercooler water spray, which was available before, is now just an arm's length away. Before it used to be underneath. So all the switches have been changed, and all of the design have been modified to maximize ease of use for driver. Even the height of this infotainment system was a little bit higher before. They lowered it. They also raised the actual rear view mirror higher to maximize the view when you sit down. So this part of the view has also increased. And the seats has been lowered by 25 millimeter to give you a better position and to give you a little bit more of a sports car feel. In addition, they also made it easier to adjust the seats and the steering up and down and forward this way. So there's a greater range of movement so that everyone can feel comfortable in this vehicle regardless of their height. They want to make sure that everyone can find the perfect driving position for this vehicle. So everything looks good. I love the fact that they finally offer automatic transmission. Not that it matters too much because I would obviously buy a manual if I were to ever buy something like this. But unfortunately, it is still not available in North America. We get the GR Corolla, which is the next best thing. I wish we did get the GR Yaris, but that's okay, that's life. I'll have to move to Japan perhaps to buy the GR Yaris in the future, so who knows. But that's the whole story behind the new GR Yaris, heavily modified and changed for 2024. Everything from the powertrain to the front design, to the rear design, to the interior have been modified, and it is the biggest change ever since they introduced the GR Yaris, and it's a beautiful vehicle, worth every penny. If you have a chance to buy it, go get it before they let this one go, because at some point this car probably won't be available for sale. It's getting loud over here, so I'm going to sign off for now. I hope you love the GR Yaris because I do. Thanks so much.